Following the increasingly poor performance of the Unicron trilogy, Hasbro decided to take back full control of Transformers media production. In order to save their failing franchise, they hedged their bets by investing in two projects with completely different directions. One was a big-budget Hollywood live-action movie. The other was Transformers Animated. The show was produced by Cartoon Network and used a lot of experienced creative talent with proven track records for creating successful cartoons. Marty Eisenberg was the show's story editor and writer, best known to Transformers fans for his work on Beast Machines, as well as other popular and respected cartoons such as Ben 10, Danny Phantom, Gargoyles, Batman, X-Men, and Spider-Man. In charge of art direction was Derek J. Wyatt, who is also known for working on Cartoon Network's Ben 10, as well as Teen Titans and Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. Returning as voice director was Susan Blue, who also directed Beast Wars and Beast Machines, although G1 fans would fondly remember her as the voice of Arcee, a role she would reprise in this series. Other returning cast members include Corey Burton, who voiced Shockwave and Spite Witwicky in the original series. Both roles he would reprise in animated, in addition to playing this series' Megatron and Ratchet, as well as others. There's also David Kaye, who is well known by Transformers fans for playing Megatron in Beast Wars, Beast Machines, Armada, Energon, and Cybertron, this time returning to voice his nemesis, the young heroic Autobot Optimus Prime. He would also play the devoted Decepticon Lugnut, Dinobot Grimlock, and many more. Other veteran voice actors include Jeff Bennett and Bill Fagerbakke, who, if you watched my previous Gargoyles review in Top 10, would know played Brooklyn and Broadway in that series. Now in this one playing Autobots Prowl and Bulkhead. In addition, Bill's co-star from SpongeBob, Tom Kenny, plays the treacherous Decepticon Starscream. Rounding out the Autobot cast is Bumblebee, played by Bumper Robinson, who also plays the split-personality triple-changing Blitzwing. And finally we have Tara Strong, who plays the Autobots' young human ally, Sari Sumdak. The initial reception to Transformers Animated was not good. Upon seeing early promotional images, much of the online fandom was very critical of the radical new art direction. Many baffled as to how Hasbro would even manage to create transforming figures based on these designs. But it wasn't long until fears were alleviated. Not only did Animated produce some of the best toys in years, it also proved to be one of the best Transformers series of all time. With its balance of humor and drama, as well as overarching storylines, while still having episodes that can be enjoyed on their own, the series has shown to be more than meets the eye. And on that note, let's take a look at the top 10 episodes of Transformers Animated. Be warned, this list is incredibly spoiler-filled. As previously mentioned, it is regarded as one of the best Transformers series of all time. If you have any interest in watching it for yourself, I highly suggest that you do so before proceeding. Alternatively, you can skip to the time below to watch the rest of the review. Otherwise, let's get on with the top 10. Number 10, SUV, Society of Ultimate Villainy. Initially, most fans hated the human villains in Animated for seemingly taking the place of the real villains, the Decepticons. Although in retrospect, many of the human villains have a certain unique charm to them and have proven to be better foils than other human villains in other Transformers media since then. And this is their team-up episode. New villainous Slow-Mo, with an Allspark Shard-infused timepiece, restores and recruits the speedster Nanosec, as well as the Angry Archer, an evil Robin Hood-esque homage to the then Transformers design director Aaron Archer. And lastly, the hypocritical My Little Pony writing Professor Princess. They soon meet an anonymous benefactor who turns out to be the intergalactic arms dealer Swindle, played by Fred Willard.
A little something I picked up in an arms deal with a Vok of Nexus Zero. Nice creatures, the Vok. If you're ever in the Nexus Zero area, do yourself a favor and check them out. You won't be sorry.
Swindle's plans are eventually foiled by Bumblebee and Sari, and the supervillains are taken to jail. This is just a fun episode that explores the bad guy's side, as well as some nice references and world building.
Megatron, you old warmonger! It's been stellar cycles!
How did you get this frequency?
A mutual bounty hunting friend provided it in exchange for a weapon or two. Professional scruples prevent me from revealing his name.
Number 9. The Elite Guard. The Season 2 opener begins with the leader of the Autobots, Ultra Magnus, along with Sentinel Prime and Jazz arriving on Earth to retrieve the Allspark from Optimus Prime. Too late, as it exploded in the previous season's finale.
What? The Allspark is destroyed?
Meanwhile, Sari is trying to run her father's company in his absence. As it turns out, he has been captured by Megatron, who is forcing the scientist to build a space bridge, which will deliver him and his Decepticons to a defenseless Cybertron. The new wave of toys demonstrate their signature weapons. Ultra Magnus comes with Thor's hammer, Sentinel Prime comes with Captain America's shield, and Jazz has Michelangelo's nunchucks. Eventually they leave Optimus and his crew to collect up all the fragments of the Allspark scattered all over Detroit. The episode ends with Porter C. Powell seizing control of Sumdac Industries, citing that Sari has no legal documentation that proves that she is Isaac Sumdac's daughter. This episode does a great job setting up the plot for this season, collecting the Allspark shards, as well as discovering who or what Sari actually is.
Robots. Why did it have to be robots?
Number 8. Thrill of the Hunt. The Autobots are in pursuit of a dangerous muscle car, who turns out to be the bounty hunter Lockdown, voiced by Lance Hendrickson.
Now please, step out of the vehicle, sir.
Just one problem. I am the vehicle.
Best known for playing the android Bishop in Aliens. Meanwhile, Ratchet has been flashing back to the time in the Great War when he was trying to help Intelligence Officer RC. Once again voiced by Sue Blue.
What's your name, soldier?
RC, sir.
Don't call me sir. I work for a living.
Optimus Prime is captured by Lockdown, mirroring how back in the Great War Ratchet and RC were captured by the same bounty hunter. As Ratchet rescues Optimus, he recalls how similar events were responsible for RC losing her memory.
You all right, RC?
Who's RC? Where are we? What's going on? Do I know you?
Back at their base, Ratchet learns how sharing his pain is better than keeping it bottled up. This is a great episode that demonstrates, despite the show's cartoon appearance, it can have a darker side.
You want me to use that EMP to make your pain go away? This was a medical tool meant to heal. You turned it into a weapon.
It's also incredible seeing how this peek into Ratchet's past, which seems mostly inconsequential at first, but is actually a major point in later plotlines.
You mean they actually sell spare parts on the open market? What kind of malfunction would be crass enough to buy this stuff?
Hey guys, check out my new horn.
Number 7. Garbage in, garbage out. During a garbage strike in Detroit, an Allspark shard brings a pile of junk to life in the form of Wreck-Gar.
I am... What am I?
As he tries to define his new existence, he runs amok through the city.
Now, give them everything you've got!
Right, everything I've got. Here, have this toilet and this engine block. How about a nice spoiled side of beef?
Listen up, Scrap Heap. You're not an Autobot and you never will be an Autobot. You're only good for one thing. Garbage!
I am Wreck-Gar. I am only good for one thing. Garbage!
Don't let others tell you what you are. You can be any bot you want to be.
You mean I can be a hero?
Yes.
The story ends with him wanting to be a hero, and him seemingly making the ultimate sacrifice to save the city from some out-of-control nanobots.
Thank you!
This is just a fun episode, chock full of Transformers references.
Ah, the universal greeting. Ba-weep, grana, weep, nini bong.
Spike, honey, can you please tell the driver to slow down?
Carly, there's no driver. There's just a little girl.
You glitchhead! You're gonna destroy the whole city! You wouldn't dare do something that stupid!
I am Wreck-Gar. I dare to be stupid.
And although they originally wanted Eric Idle to reprise his role as Wreck-Gar, I think Weird Al Yankovic does a fantastic job. Number 6. A Fistful of Energon. After Starscream escapes the Elite Guard, Prowl goes after him alone.
Looking for someone, Autobot?
There he encounters Lockdown. The unlikely duo team up to take down Starscream. Lockdown lending Prowl some upgrades to help get the job done. The mods go to his head before learning the ends don't justify the means.
That sneak attack was perfect! Much more effective than all that fighting with honor nonsense. Are you sure you don't have some Decepticon oil in your tubes?
With both clones captured and the Autobots and Decepticons in the same place, the real Starscream reveals his plan. But Prowl sacrifices his mods to save the city and his friends. This is a good episode because it shows some great character development by Prowl, and it's always fun to see good guys and bad guys team up. Not to mention that this episode introduces the first batch of Starscream clones, an idea that would become an integral plot point later in the series.
Oh well, plenty more where they came from.
Number 5. Along Came a Spider. It's the Halloween episode. Sari looks adorable in her cardboard Optimus Prime costume.
Ooh, look at me. I'm Optimus Prime. I'm scared of spiders.
Bumblebee is dressed as Dracula, and Bulkhead as a ghost. Meanwhile, Optimus is remembering back to the time when he, Sentinel Prime, and Alita 1 went to an alien planet inhabited by giant spiders and discovered a Decepticon ship filled with Energon. By the way, one of the things I love about this series is how each Transformer has some sort of unique power, weapon, or sometimes both. And Alita's power is that she can copy other Transformers' powers, like Rogue from X-Men. Well, she copies Optimus's grappling hooks, and as they're escaping the exploding Decepticon ship, her power expires, and she falls back into the ship and seemingly dies. Back in the present, Black Arachnia takes out Bumblebee and Bulkhead and kidnaps Sari.
Change of plans. You're coming with me.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can.
When Optimus goes after them, she reveals that she is Alita 1, mutated by the spiders and abandoned by her friends. She tries to use Sari's key to purge herself of her organic half, but David Kaye has done this before and removes the key before it kills her. This is a great episode that sets up a lot of characters' motivations. First and foremost, it sets up Black Arachnia's motivations for the rest of the series, curing herself of her organic half. It also establishes Optimus's relationship with her. And finally, it explains why Sentinel has his phobia of organic life forms. Number 4. Lost and Found. Lugnut and Blitzwing finally arrive on Earth, where they have an excellent fight scene with the Autobots, culminating in Lugnut using his signature move, the Punch of Kill Everything, or Poke for short. After giving the Autobots the Poke, Megatron contacts Lugnut, who in turn drags Blitzwing off before they have a chance to finish off our heroes. Not wanting to put the Earth in any more danger, The Autobots decide it is best that they take the Allspark and leave the planet.
How will we break the news to Sari?
She's a big girl. She'll understand. I think she's taking it well.
They're just about to head down to their ship when the Decepticons attack. We're treated to another great action scene while Ratchet and Sari are tasked with repairing the ship. Sari, not wanting to see her friends go, sabotages their efforts, but the power of the Allspark intervenes. Resulting in a touching bonding moment between Sari and Ratchet.
Sorry!
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I tried to keep you from leaving, but the key wouldn't let me.
If anything happened to you at the hands of the Decepticons, that's why we have to leave. I'd never forgive myself.
How can I help?
The two manage to get the ship's main cannon back online and blow Lugnut and Blitzwing to pieces. Literally. I don't know what part of this episode is better, the great battle sequences or the hilarious odd couple dynamic between Lugnut and Blitzwing.
Would you shut it down for 2 cycles? I cannot hear myself think.
You mean you can't hear those voices in your head?
The bit with Sari and Ratchet is great too. And of course the Autobots playing hockey. How can this not be in the top 10?
Careful, you copper-clad klutz! You stepped in something!
But with a few dancing lessons, you'll be light on your stabilizing servos like me. Cha-cha-cha!
Number 3. A Bridge Too Close, Part 2. The second part of the Season 2 finale starts with the Autobots captured, Megatron ready to take his homemade space bridge to Cybertron, and Starscream pulling a full-on Star Wars Episode 2. The Autobots break free and combat Starscream's brigade. Meanwhile, Ratchet and Sari are repairing their ship. Wait, doesn't this sound familiar? Anyways, back at Megatron's base, the Autobots are incapacitated once again. As Starscream is about to pull the coup de grace on Megatron, Sumdac interferes. After Starscream literally losing his head, his clones decide to defect.
Any leader has to be an improvement over you!
Oh, why is it great, Megatron? You have truly proven your vast superiority. I will remain loyal to you forever.
With things looking dire for our heroes, it's Sari and Ratchet in the Autobot ship to the rescue, which turns out to be the slumbering giant Omega Supreme.
I am Omega Supreme.
Cool.
Finally confirming what was hinted at in previous episodes. The Titan-class Autobot proves to be more than a match for the Decepticons. At the same time, it seems Megatron's space bridge needs more power. However, reusing the Allspark shard in Starscream's head only overloads it, resulting in Omega Supreme sacrificing himself to save his comrades.
I am programmed to protect and sacrifice if necessary.
And the episode ends with another theory confirmed that was hinted at throughout the past 2 seasons.
See, guys, I knew all along my dad couldn't have betrayed us. He's as honest and trustworthy as they come.
Sorry, we need to talk.
What a great season finale, just wall-to-the-wall action, many questions answered and plot lines sewn up, but still new ones to look forward to exploring in the next season.
Well, you'd be the last bot I would expect to come to my rescue.
Number 2. Transwarped, Part 1. It was a tough call whether to include this part of Transwarped over the others. Technically, all 3 parts of Transwarp debuted together as a movie, so we could count this as one episode. But if we did that, it wouldn't be fair to the other multi-part episodes. Anyways, the Season 3 opener kicks off with a part of the animated universe we don't get to see much. A battle between Team Rodimus and Team Strika. Best of all, with Judd Nelson reprising his role as Rodimus Prime.
Rodimus to Elite Guard Command! We are under attack! Repeat! Requesting backup! We are under attack!
We then cut back to literally right after the previous season's finale. Megatron and Starscream were floating in space when an offline Omega Supreme transwarps next to them. Back on Earth, we are given the true origin of Sari.
I saw a very strange flash of light coming from my laboratory. I had never seen anything like it. A little body, like liquid metal. I touched it and got quite a shock. When I came to, you were just there.
Oh, please. Why didn't you just tell me you found me in a cabbage patch? Or the stork brought me?
I concur, Professor. Your story's not consistent with where Sari told me small organics come from.
After forcibly evicting Powell and Masterson from Sundak Tower, Sari is still coming to grips with her new robo-identity and returns to the Autobot base. Somewhere near what looks like Saturn, Blur and the Starscream clones, who may or may not be Skywarp and Thundercracker, free themselves of their sticky situation, and Blur, in what is one of the coolest visuals ever, runs back to Cybertron. Elsewhere in space, Megatron tricks Omega Supreme into transporting him back to Cybertron. Flashback to the Great War, Ratchet accidentally downloads the access codes for Omega Supreme from RC, expositing how Project Omega was basically the Autobots' version of the Manhattan Project. Back at home, Optimus tries to reconcile things between Sari and her father, only to have Headmaster in control of Starscream's body get in the way. This is such a good episode in the way that it flows right from the previous season. And the way you bounce around between different characters, it's like one of those big TV network dramas. And finally, number 1, Endgame, Part 2. The final episode of Transformers Animated tops off the series with a bang. We pick up right where Part 1 left off, with Megatron and his Lugnut-controlled Omega Supreme clones assaulting Detroit. The other Autobots do damage control as Optimus uses the Magnus Hammer to try and take down the big purple knockoffs. Sari, Ratchet, Bumblebee, and Bulkhead head to the moon, where they rescue RC, take down Shockwave, recover the protoforms, and free Omega Supreme.
Autobots in danger! Now stop! Obey me! You are a servant of the mighty Megatron! You are Omega Supreme!
However, as Lugnut is removed from control, Starscream executes his final and seemingly only plan. More bombs! Prowl and Jazz use their cyber ninja powers to recollect as many Allspark shards as they can to use its power to shield the city from the Omega clone's explosion.
We're gonna need more spark to shield the city from that blast. Can't pull in any more fragments. Only one way.
Not seeing any other option, Prowl sacrifices himself to give the Allspark enough power to contain the explosion.
If I must give up my spark, at least I get to take yours with me.
But through some kind of cyber Jedi ghost magic trick, Prowl manages to save Optimus. Megatron somehow survives the explosion, and like a true hero, Optimus Prime brings him in alive to face justice.
That would be the easy way out, Megatron. You don't deserve it.
And the series ends with everyone returning to Cybertron for a hero's welcome. What a magnificent end to an incredible series. Not only is it a good episode, but it neatly ties up nearly every major plot point in the show in such a short amount of time. And that's it for the top 10 Transformers animated episodes. Not since Beast Wars has the Transformers series been so beloved by fans. It sparked a whole new generation of fans of the franchise and created some original characters that would see life beyond this series. Unfortunately, no matter how well animated may have done, it simply could not compete with the phenomenal success of the live-action movie. And rather than continue to support two Transformers franchises with two very different aesthetics and themes, Hasbro instead chose to double down on the movie's success and cancelled animated to make way for a new cartoon that would be more in line with the movie's design and cast, Transformers Prime. It also didn't help matters that Hasbro was starting its own network, The Hub, and their relationship with Cartoon Network was pretty poor to say the least at the time of animated's cancellation. Although the animated universe would be loosely expanded upon in books and convention fiction, and there would be some exclusive figures released after the line's original run. As much as fans loved the series, there doesn't seem to be any indication of late that animated will be revisited in any form. Nonetheless, animated remains one of the best Transformers series of all time, a unique and fresh take on the franchise. It's well worth a watch for anyone, from longtime hardcore fans to brand new ones. If an existing fan wants to introduce someone to what else the brand has to offer outside the movies, be it their children, a friend, or significant other, Transformers Animated should be their first choice of what to show them. It is so easily approachable as it has something for everyone. And that's it for my Transformers Animated review and top 10. I hope you enjoyed watching this. If you would like more of this style of content, consider contributing to my Patreon. Or, subscribing and hitting that bell and, doing all that kind of YouTube stuff. But yeah, most of all, I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you for watching.
Oh, and, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, big guy.